Chapter 5.
The fell trees were dragged and cut and sliced and made ready to build the remaining sections of the king's castle. Once finished, the mopheads continued to take resources from the land to build houses and buildings for themselves. Factories were created to make everything they needed, which then began to pollute the sky, the air and the water, just like they'd done to their own homeland. Water sprites, accompanied by a large bird with a long neck, had gathered at a spot along the bank of the river Huma. They were most animated, and they complained to each other about the condition of the river. Its beautiful crystal clear water had turned into a flow of toxic horror. It was yellow and brown and grey, with foam that clung to the sides of the riverbank. Before it had been polluted, you could hear it sing along its way as it carried with it the wisdom of the ages. The water that had been there since the beginning of time. "Don't shout at me. I did not make this mess, yes. I too want it all to go away, yes. But what am I to do?" asked Silas the Strooner, a bird that looks a bit like a heron. One of the water sprites sat on a rock and looked at Silas. "You know, that's the thing. You can't on your own, as I can't on my own, but together, surely something can be done," said the sprite. A pixie approached with her hands on her hips and dressed in green dungarees that were far too big for her. Yes, that all sounds very heroic, but think about it. They have an army of mopheads with axes and swords, and we have a load of Amazonians that are doing nothing with their long arms to bring about any peace or change to the situation. Silas moved towards the pixie, waving his arms. More negative rubbish from a pixie. You see how contagious negative thinking and being are, and how quickly they engulf everything? Unless you're super aware all the time, which you obviously are not. I'm not negative. We are never negative. All I'm saying is that we are not in a position to help ourselves here, shouted the pixie. You see, said Silas. Through the edge of the forest, near to where they sat, emerged a unicorn who walked proudly yet gently towards them. It was an amazing sight. "Where did you come from, Light? We've not seen you in years," inquired Silas. "We were told that you'd gone to another dimension." "I did, but sometimes I visit old friends, and I am here because I received a message from the Standing Stones who live towards the west. I have been investigating ever since. The water sprite is right. There are many of you all calling for change. And one thing we can be sure of is change. So let's make it for the better." "What I want to know is how they got here," said the pixie, standing on a rock with her hands still on her hips. "That, my friend, is an excellent question," replied Light. "Well, what is the answer?" asked everyone in unison. "It is a question that I will answer, but not at this time," said Light, looking to all of them. "What kind of answer is that?" "Calm yourself, Pixie. I will explain everything. There is a gathering to happen very soon, and I will pass the information on to everyone at that point." "What gathering? What are you talking about? You just make more confusion and speak more dibble-dabble. How does that help?" pushed the pixie again. Silas glared at her. "Be quiet. I trust Light in his wisdom. And so should you. If he says he will answer the question and there is to be a gathering, then there will be. Light is a visionary and has a very high vibration, and you should trust his speak." Light bowed his head. "Thank you, my friend." He turned to walk in the direction of the forest and then transformed into beautiful iridescent light just before he disappeared. "Whoa, what happened there?" said Heather the Bosie. Bosies look a little like your rabbits, but they are much furrier. "I told you all, did I not? Light is a high vibrational being that walks between the realms and lives mostly on other dimensions." "Oh, I see. Well, that explains a lot, I think," said Heather, pulling up her knees to her chest as she lay on her back laughing. They gathered around and talked until the sun started to set on another day, at which point they all went their separate ways, but with hope in their hearts that things were about to get much better.